What's up? Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we are reacting to Sleep Paralysis SCP-3060. SCP animated by The Rubber. Like, comment, subscribe to The Rubber. Like, comment, subscribe to Fried Bulldogs. And without further ado, let's get this video started.
Viewer discretion is advised. My grandfather had trouble with snoring and several heart issues that made it difficult for him to get a
So my mom, when my mom was snoring, when my mom was snoring, she'd be scaring the shit out of me. Like, for real though. She'd be like, I'm like, Mom? I was like, oh my God. No, for real, that should be scary.
full night of sleep. And after years of his doctor recommending that he purchase a CPAP machine, after the first night of using it, he said he felt like a changed man. He woke up feeling refreshed, energized, and 10 years younger according to him. Who would have thought that my ornery and spiteful grandfather could be so cheery and peaceful? I guess getting a good night's rest after several years was a godsend for him. He was so happy, only for one single day. The next day, he walked into the kitchen shaking and looking around fearfully. When we asked him what in the world had gotten him so spooked, he said that a monster had come to him last night. My dad sat him down and asked him to tell us about it. According to him, he had woken up in the middle of the night thanks to my raised voice during a gaming session. He said that he was unable to move a single muscle and noticed an odd shadow in the corner of his room. This large, black, amorphous blob sloshed its way over to his bed and began climbing it. Any attempt at shouting for help failed, as his lips wouldn't listen to his brain's command.
Yep, that's sleep paralysis 101, because I had a couple of sleep paralysis and still probably do. It sucks. It really does.
This monstrous blob then reshaped itself before his eyes and became more and more humanoid, eventually taking on the appearance of an adult.
Oh hell no. The fuck is that? I got so much joke, but I don't think I want to say it. Okay, I will say couple. What that mouth do though? Damn, look at that tongue. It wrap around. How many takes does it take to get to the center of my
male with shadowy features, except for its torso. The torso, according to my grandfather, was the worst part. He described it as a jagged-tooth-filled maw with a large, writhing tongue that licked its teeth. My grandfather wanted to move away, but he couldn't. Fear paralyzed him. He had no choice but to pull the tough man act as he stared down the creature for what felt like an eternity until it vanished when the sun came up. We assured him that it was just sleep paralysis, a waking nightmare, and nothing to worry about. However, the next few days proved the exact opposite. He became highly agitated during the day, exhausted, and short with us, all before descending into madness by shouting at unseen figures and voices that seemed to plague incessantly. Nothing we could do consoled him at this point. Even the doctors were at a loss as to what was wrong with him. They simply settled on rapid onset dementia and paranoia coupled with insomnia. Sadly, he had to be put into a medically induced coma in order to finally get him to rest. As horrible as his situation was, there was something odd about the whole ordeal. Namely, how a new doctor named Dr. Gears came along and transferred my grandfather to—
Oh shit, Dr. Gears. I like this Dr. Gears. He looked more scary and shit. And gray. Y'all leave me alone. It's late at night. I don't got jokes every day. Shit.
To a private facility in order to analyze this unknown condition. Haven't heard from him since. Hello everybody, I'm The Rubber. Today, we bring you SCP Foundation Keter Class Object SCP-3060. SCP-3060, also known as sleep paralysis, refers to a collection of anomalous CPAP machines. The Foundation currently has 5 of these devices in custody. These machines are harmless when left alone, but activate when they are worn by a sleeping human. During the second night of sleep using an instance of 3060, the user will enter a state of sleep paralysis. A ghostly entity designated as SCP-3060-A will manifest near the victim and watch over them until they awaken. This entity will then manifest every night to the victim, regardless of using the CPAP machine. Typical 3060-A manifestations include an infant created from human teeth, an elderly.
Sweet baby Jesus. That shit scared the shit out of me. Hell fucking no. And then I pause on this. I'm sorry for you. Y'all have to sweet. Ooh.
Woman, severely injured and with a blank face, partially disintegrated human, a humanoid figure covered in tire tracks, a clown, and lastly, humanoid with a torso replaced by a monstrous maw. While 3060-A watches over the victim, anyone nearby will become infected and pass out, wherein a new 3060-A will manifest and travel to the new victim, phase an appendage through their brains, and vanish. The infected who awakened by external stimuli will vanish immediately, and all the new infected victims will awaken right after. Interestingly enough, only humans are affected by 3060. Animals are not. After a few days of infection, the victims will suffer mood changes, tiredness, and memory problems. Nightmares have also been reported, though no central themes or correlations have been observed in the content of said dreams. After a month, they descend into paranoia and are assaulted by aggressive visual and auditory hallucinations. And finally, they suffer extreme psychosis, unable to decipher between their dreams and reality, and ultimately die as a result if not put into a coma. There is no cure at this time, and the only treatment so far has been to delay sleep as long as possible each day. Should the infected die after 7 days, a 3060-A instance will manifest and hunt for a new sleeping victim in the area. If none are found, it will vanish and the area will not be targeted any further. The Foundation first learned of 3060 after a sleep study in Portland. Studying the effects of the CPAP machine in question was brought to their attention. All participants became infected and taken into custody, as well as any and all documentation they could find at the clinic. Shortly after arrival, all participants died in their sleep. Curiously, the head researcher of the sleep study, Dr. Zhao, was discovered to be a frequent user of SCP-3060, an anomalous smartphone application created by the Wonnerai Group, which allows users to customize and purchase their ideal lucid dreams. The Foundation sent MTF Dream Team to investigate the group. Even though they have denied any involvement in 3060, the investigation is still ongoing. What followed was the first tests with SCP-3060 by using 4 D-Class personnel housed in nearby cells within the same holding block as an infected woman who at this time entered her second REM sleep. D-1260 was mindlessly playing cards, D-2860 was reading, D-2106 was seen pacing around nervously, and D-2306 was asleep. At approximately midnight, 3060-A manifested over the infected woman. 4 shadowy humanoid figures manifested around the woman as well. They stood above her for exactly 5 minutes, as another D-Class nearby became unresponsive and was paralyzed with the looks of fear on their faces. The 4 instances separated and glided over to the panicking D-Class subjects. They hovered above each D-Class, watching them intently before phasing their hands into their skulls, and then vanished. The test resulted in a containment breach, which in turn infected several Foundation personnel. Among the infected ones was one researcher, Dr. Joanna Corbin. "Hey Joe, how are we doing today?" "Hey Roland, yeah, I'm fine, but tired. Hard to concentrate when the walls are bleeding, you know, don't sit there." "Why, may I ask?" "Just trust me, for my mental sanity. Don't do it, please. I'll be much more composed if I don't have to watch you sit in that chair." Dr. Corbin only looked at the ground in front of her, trying hard to avoid looking at the chair. "Hallucinations are becoming harder to separate from reality, I see." "Yes, I know it's not real, but I can't. It's like something else is inside my head." Dr. Corbin then smacked her head repeatedly and then shouted obscenities at some unseen entity. "I understand that you recognize that these Okay,
that was funny. That was cute a little bit. You know, that can make a beat.
Entities aren't real. But in my eyes, if they have that much effect on you, they're real enough, and we'll help you with that. Tell me, are these voices or creatures trying to make you do something specific? Do you know of any goal that they have? I don't know. It speaks to me through me sometimes, too. I don't know what it wants, but there's something else in my brain. It's not all a hallucination. I know that. She then rubbed her eyes. She was on the verge of a breakdown. I am so fried right now, Roland. Sleeping's become a chore, a nightmare-filled chore that leaves me feeling more exhausted than when I went to bed. And when I wake up, it's like I'm taking the nightmares with me, like the barrier between my conscious and subconscious has become non-existent. Allow me to test something if you don't mind. I want you to read what is on this piece of paper for me. Can you do that? She then chuckled. Not because it was funny, it was her expression of desperation. I can't read a damn word on this paper. All the words are literally running off the page and into the air. Here, I'll read it for you then. Do you have a name? Are you a separate entity from Dr. Corbin? Do you belong to this reality, or do you reside in her brain? Suddenly, panic took over Dr. Corbin. She flipped the table aside and tackled Dr. Farrow to put out the imaginary flames on him. Fire! Fire! We need a fire extinguisher in here! It's not real, Jenny. It's not real. I'm fine. Dr. Farrow approached and put his hand on Dr. Corbin's shoulder to calm her down. She was calm for a moment, but it didn't last. She began to whimper and crawled away, sobbing. I can't read it. I can't do it. It won't let me. Or I can't. I don't know. Well then, I'll leave the list with you. See if you can ask them when you have a less visually clustered moment. After Dr. Farrow left the room, Dr. Corbin attempted to read the paper again and again, but could not. She was seen and heard screaming in pain and frustration. It is hypothesized by Dr. Farrow that the entity or entities tied to 3060 intensify the hallucinations when they are being sought out, all in an attempt to prevent their or its identity from being discovered. A year after the initial discovery of SCP-3060, the Foundation found nearly 100 advertisements for 3060 in the USA, Canada, and Europe. Before the ads were taken down, the Foundation managed to track down where the ads had come from: Curvier Logistics. According to shipping logs found inside the business, 3,000 units of 3060 were shipped globally. Fortunately, thanks to the fast actions of MTF Alpha 4, they managed to recover 2,970 units, leaving only 30 unaccounted for. Curvier warehouse staff were oblivious to the effect of the devices when interviewed, having all been hired within the last 2 weeks, prior to their order for the 3,000 units of SCP-3060. Over half of these individuals were users of SCP-2876 prior to their hire date. Due to the missing 30 units of 3060, the status of 3060 has been elevated from Euclid to Keter. Multiple MTF squads have been put on standby across the globe, specifically for outbreaks of 3060. Furthermore, due to the nature of 3060, it is possible that the 3060 infection could spread exponentially across the globe. All because the effects of 3060 are not immediately apparent to the Foundation until the infected are already near death, meaning that hundreds to thousands could be infected without Foundation knowledge. In other words, 3060 could potentially lead to an AK-class end-of-world scenario, resulting in mass destruction, violence, and death due to the actions of millions and possibly billions experiencing a psychotic break. The O5 Council has given any MTF squad involved in the containment of SCP-3060 to use as much force as they deem necessary to combat it, all with the seal of approval from the Ethics Committee, despite the morally gray area of such actions.
That's right. It's time once...
Viewer discretion is advised.
Damn, that shit was sad. That one's sad. That one out. That's too sad for me. Damn. That shit, the baby with teeth? Ew, hell no. Hell fucking no. You would, hell no. I have worse, but that, if I see that, nah, sweet baby Jesus. You gotta take me that day. Alright, everybody. That was Sleep Paralysis, SCP-3060. SCP animation by The Rubber. Like, comment, subscribe to The Rubber, then like, comment, subscribe to me.